All in Sports Network. We love sports.
The Kansas City Chiefs are facing off against the Indianapolis Colts this Sunday, and we officially have our first injury report of the week. We've got some major developments there, talking about names like Kingsley Suamataia on the offensive line and Isaiah Pacheco back at practice, but is he actually going to play this weekend? We got some updates for you there as well. And a crazy situation. Would the Kansas City Chiefs be interested in signing Odell Beckham Jr.? He's now eligible to be signed and to be played. We talk about the report that suggests Kansas City as a top target for OBJ right here, right now on the Chiefs Report. I'm Jace Andrews. We happy you chose to join us here on the Rogue Sports Network and, of course, making us one of your daily listens in terms of Chiefs podcast. We are going to keep pumping out content as per usual, but some cool things on the horizon. Got some shorter videos going to be cutting out of our lives, got shorts, and a couple of new things coming up in the future. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and stay tuned on YouTube. And if you are a part of our listeners on Apple or on Spotify, guess what? Going to be putting some smaller episodes together there as well, potentially in the future. So make sure you hit that follow button on those platforms. But today, let's start by talking about OBJ, because this is an intriguing one because, well, to be quite honest, I saw the report of Odell Beckham Jr. being eligible to be signed, not just eligible to be signed, but especially off the 6-game suspension that he had been applied to him, or whatever the suspension was, and can now be signed and can be played by an organization. So, funny enough, there were reports flying all over about which team would be best fit, and the Chiefs came up, and funny enough, they were named a contender to sign OBJ. Now, there obviously has to be some backing to this and kind of talking about what is the probability? Are there other teams that could be maybe a better fit for him? Well, it's actually a pretty reputable source. In fact, this comes straight from Bleacher Report, and not just a report from Bleacher Report, but also the Chiefs back in 2024 in the free agency period. They were one of the teams that looked and considered into signing Odell Beckham Jr. They made the right decision by not doing it. But now they could fill out a receiver room that was, quote, plagued by injury last season. However, this year is a kind of interesting situation because you've got Rashee Rice, you've got Xavier Worthy, you've got Hollywood Brown. If you get OBJ, he would then be kind of taking away targets in some aspect from guys like Travis Kelce, guys like Juju Smith-Schuster, guys like Tyquan Thornton. And I like the skill sets of Juju and Tyquan. Obviously, Kelsey's in a different realm of his own. I don't think the targets will necessarily go away from him, but just be kind of interesting how they would use OBJ. However, I think the point can be made when talking about Odell that if an injury does occur in the next coming weeks, he is a very obvious choice for a multitude of different reasons. And we kind of have to go look at his career because it has recently been an up and down affair. Obviously, you go back to his Giants days from 2014 to 2018, making, in my opinion, I know obviously being a child when this catch occurred makes it a little bit more special, but I truly do believe that he made the best catch in NFL history, and I have a really hard time believing that that catch will ever be topped in some aspects. There's been some that are close, but I'm always going to say that one was the one that is quote unquote the creme de la creme. But in his years in New York, it was a very good seasons, very good first 3 seasons for him. He had 1,300 yards his rookie year in 2014, 1,400 yards in 15, and then 1,300 yards in 16. He had an injury in 2017, but then back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons with New York in 2018 and Cleveland in 2019. By the way, that 1,000-yard season in 2018, he only appeared in 12 games. But since that point, that 2019 season with Cleveland, not only have injuries reared the ugly head, but it's also just been a tough go of things when he's been healthy enough to be on the field. You look at 2020 and having just 7 games, had 319 yards, a 13.9 average, but only just the 3 touchdowns. But the 2021 season was where it kind of is a try and bounce back year. He played 6 games with Cleveland, 8 games with Los Angeles, totaling for 44 receptions combined, 537 yards, 5 touchdowns, all of those being with the Los Angeles Rams. The past 2 seasons, it's been lackluster at best. He has had only just a combined not even 100 targets, 64 in 2023, 18 with Miami in 2024, 565 yards in the 2023 season with Baltimore, 55 yards on 9 receptions, and a 6.1 average in his season with Miami. So is he the same Odell Beckham Jr. that he was in his rookie years or at LSU? No, and I don't think that if the Chiefs or any team for that matter were to sign him, they would officially believe that this guy is warranted for that spot or warranted to come out here and say, hey, we're going to give him targets. No, he would have to earn them. He would have to, in a lot of reality, make the plays that you have to make to then get the respect from Patrick Mahomes in some aspect. There's a chemistry factor to this, and we talk about the names that I just mentioned and kind of going back to people. Rashee Rice is going into what his third season now with the Kansas City Chiefs. You talk about the second season for Xavier Worthy, the second season for Hollywood Brown. Obviously, we know the connection is there with Travis Kelce and Juju. Tyquan's newer, but he's still been here since the preseason, has been making some very good deep ball passes and or deep ball receptions, I should say. So, in a lot of aspects, do I believe that signing OBJ would benefit this team? In certain situations, yeah. But I think that that certain situation is warranted by injury. And so, as of right now, and knock on wood here that nothing changes, nothing goes awry, and there's no injuries in the upcoming weeks versus either Indianapolis or in the Thanksgiving game versus the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think it's worth it because ultimately it's going to be a 1 year fluff contract. And if nobody gets injured or you don't start winning in these next two games, what's the point of going out and making this move and spending the money for what is going to be probably an overpay because of the name? Now, at the same time, OBJ knows the situation and with the injuries and suspensions and um, everything that he has kind of entailed himself into the past couple of years. I'm sure he's more expecting for that contract to be a little lighter of a load, but at the same time, there is some ways that they could do it. And if he'd like to sign a practice squad contract, the Chiefs have a veteran spot open there. Could easily slot him in there, but uh, I find it hard to believe that OBJ would even care to do that at this point. I mean, let's be honest. If I was Odell Beckham Jr. and I made a ton of money and I'm still a very popular person, am I going to go spend my time on the Chiefs practice squad hoping for a chance when the team is 5-5? Or could I get a practice squad signing somewhere else that maybe has a more legitimate shot to make the playoffs? Not that the Chiefs don't have a legitimate shot to make the playoffs, but in terms of weighing his opportunities, Patrick Mahomes does warrant some growth and some want to play for the Kansas City Chiefs. But overall, in this situation, I think for OBJ and for his camp, this is probably something that, well, going to be more up to the teams. Like he can say all he wants, and there's been some cool edits of him being in Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes, obviously knowing the um, history of these two, and would obviously love to finally kind of make that a reality. And this graphic was posted, or if you're watching, got a graphic of both Odell and Patrick up. And it was posted 9 weeks ago. It wasn't like it was 2 years ago, but Beckham, he's 32. He doesn't want to retire. And with Mahomes, he could definitely be a reliable target. But again, I think it definitely requires injury. And in this post, it was about Rashee Rice being suspended and Xavier Worthy nursing the shoulder injury. So, in that aspect of things, I really do sit here and think, okay, it warrants to be said that the injury is the thing that could potentially make this a legitimate possibility. If there was not an injury, which again, knock on wood, I don't want. I don't want Xavier Worthy or Rashee Rice or whoever to get injured. However, if that were to happen, I do think OBJ is definitely a good safety net just because of his veteran status, the ability to be a little bit more versatile than probably some of these veterans, but it is a riskiness because he also has injury issues. So unless there is some external factors going around with that, I don't see the Chiefs truly making a move for Odell Beckham Jr. anytime soon.